And welcome to LaserSoft. Today we're going to be talking about the sensor strings and how we've wired them up. We basically sell the sensor strings along with our guns at lasersoftstore.com. And what we're doing today is talking about how we changed things up just a little bit here because we looked at what the original system and what people were using and decided it just wasn't going to meet the specifications for a military simulation, something that would be strong enough to be able to handle some of the rigors that the cables are going to be put through. Now, everybody's pretty much familiar with the RJ11 solution. Again, this is the end connector that people have often used, otherwise known as the phone cord connector, for their sensor strings for the MilesTag laser tag system. So, since we started selling the sensor strings now along with the guns, this is a tutorial video of how these strings are wired up. So if you ever have to put your own end back on them again and replace them, how to do that wiring, because we are a little bit different here since we decided to go to something a lot better than this, which was to go to RJ45, otherwise known as Cat5 cable connecting end. Now, as you can see, this thing is easily twice as big and about 3 times as strong as the original RJ11 connector that a lot of people have been using for a long time. And we just found that we couldn't put a wire that was thick enough in there, especially since we use a wire that has a nylon cord interwoven with the wire itself to help with strain relief. And it also allowed us to fill the sections with glue around the wire, so once the entire socket had been put together, it allows us to fill it up there to prevent wires from breaking loose inside and being yanked out should you happen to catch a branch or something along that lines. So it seemed to be a much easier solution. We did try some more exotic solutions such as screw-in connectors and things like that, mic connectors, and don't get me wrong, they work beautifully and they're extremely strong and they can handle quite a bit. But your average individual who wants to be able to, let's say, replace this end connector if something does become damaged, or wants to put it together themselves, needs to be able to have something that's readily available. They don't have to go hunting for it. They don't need a soldering iron. They don't need these special tools, except for maybe a Cat5 crimper, which is easily available anywhere on the planet nowadays. We just saw this as a much better solution. So let me go ahead and tell you about how we wire our sensor strings, so you'll have that wiring on hand. Basically, the red wire in this is for the hit lead. The white wire is our +5 or power wire. Our blue wire is our ground. Now, blue can also be a green wire, which is also ground. But most of the time, since we have huge spools of this cable now, we are using this blue wire is ground. And black will be your data line to your gun. We did notice another thing too, since we have all these spare connectors that are not used in this, you could actually go to maybe a 6 or 8 pin wire. Again, using stranded cable, you don't want to use anything solid. You could have other connectors coming from the gun, such as maybe a reload on the vest or a speaker. A pair of speaker wires going to an amplifier on the vest if you wanted to do that as well. So it gave you a little bit more flexibility to be able to add more connectors and do a lot more things with it. So again, we found this to be the best middle ground for the home builder and for us as a easily replaceable, repairable item, and you can get it anywhere. So with that, we're going to go ahead and talk about how you're going to wire up your socket here to your gun. It's pretty straightforward here. So you might want to take notes on this here real quick, and you'll probably end up replaying this section of the video quite a number of times, so I hope we can I'll do it real slow here real quick. Alright, the red wire, which is normally your hit LED, will be a blue wire, or blue connector signified on the socket. Your white, or your, otherwise known as your +5 volts, is going to be a blue-white. The blue, otherwise known as the ground, will be the brown-white. Your black, otherwise known as your data line, is going to be brown. In other words, hit lead, blue, power, blue, white, ground, brown, white, data, brown. Once more, hit LED, blue, +5 power, blue, white, ground, brown, white, data, brown. And that's really all there is to it. You could use any of the other colors that are in the socket for, again, taking output from the speaker line and putting in here and use 2 wires out for a external speaker with an amplifier or something. And installing it is very simple. As you can see, each slot attunes to a particular color. So in this case, since we have a piece of black wire here that we have pulled back some of the insulation from, you're going to take it, you're going to wind it up with your finger and fold it over. Fairly simple. Now, some of these sockets come as a kit with a tool, something like this, or you can use a jeweler's screwdriver. I've used both. I haven't had any problem. And since this is black wire, this would normally be our data wire. We have this thing folded over, and we simply put it into the slot that is shown to be the brown. And we take our tool, you get that bugger in there. We take our tool and push it down, and the wire is in place. Just that easy. So that would be hooked to the brown. This would be hooked up to the data line. Sorry about the flashing. The white balance on the camera is a little bit wonky. And that's all there is to it. And you do that with each one of the wires. May I recommend that you do your data and your ground before you do any of the others. That just makes sure that your data is plugged into the data connector and keeps you from accidentally putting power on it or something like that nature. That's also why I paired those two together, because brown and brown white will always be next to one another, and data and ground, there you go, you're all set. After that, after you get all of your wires into the appropriate slots, then hit it with some hot glue and or whatever adhesive that you want to use in there to hold them into place. And you're all set. You're ready to go. You're ready to cut the hole wherever this is going to be, whether it be in the bottom of a magazine, the buttstock, whatever. And you're all set, and you'll end up with a system that is a whole hell of a lot stronger than your typical RJ11 setup, which we found this works. It's easy to get a hold of, easy to repair, easy to replace. All you need is a Cat 5 crimper to put together this portion of it. And if you use this guide, you can plug into any other gun that uses that same sort of guide. So there you go. Again, one more time. On the connector, the red line is the hit lead, the white line is the power +5 line, blue is ground, black is going to be your data. On the connector here, your hit LED is going to be blue, your power line +5 is going to be blue-white, your ground is going to be brown-white, and your data is going to be brown. So there you go. We're going to do one more thing here real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use the snaps that I've also included in the box. When we sell our sensors, we also sell them manufactured with snaps on them. You can get them with Velcro as well, but generally our sensor modules that you can put on a headband or a helmet or whatever, we use these nice large snaps. They seem to be very strong, they hold up, they don't get accidentally pulled off, they don't get flipped around. It just it holds them fairly well. So what I'm going to do real quick is show you, because we've included a number of these snaps in the package when we ship a sensor set. This is the other half of the sensor set, or the snap set for the sensors. So what I'm going to do here real quick is just show you what you need to do. You're going to take this. We will take whatever material. It could be a piece of elastic that you're going to use for a headband, like so. I'm going to go ahead and punch a hole in this real quick. Alright, so we've got ourselves a little hole in our fake headband here. You're going to run the hole through here. You take the other side of that snap, and well, you have a lot of options from this point. Generally, most people will take a 10-penny nail and put it right on this hole and hammer it down, and it'll squish out flat. Some people will take a pair of pliers and squish it. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a hammer. In lieu of a 10-penny nail, I'm just going to use this screwdriver head. Sorry about the noise. Well, now you're all set. And that's all there is to it. Now you can take your sensor and snap it directly to it. Very simple, very straightforward. Anybody can do it. And that's how it goes. Oops, there we go. Alright, so if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in my YouTube here. I will check them and see what you have. You can go to lasersoftstore.com. It's all one word. And take a look at our hardware. We have sensor sets up available, full guns built. Of course, the now really well and worldwide known LS2020 laser module for the MilesTag laser system. And you're all set. We can put together a system for you relatively quick and get you on the way to doing some MilSim laser tag. That ends our instructional video, and have a nice day.